very honestly, there were people who got us here, but they can't take us further.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
It's real, bro.
It's tough.
It's a not everybody realizes that. Like, I think when you're an entrepreneur, you need to have like a third sense. Like it's you, and then there's like senses around you, you know, and you need to listen to that. And if you don't listen to that, it might affect you. It might affect your business. It might affect your journey. It might affect your career. And also you're affecting other people by keeping them where they are. There's people who need to come and leave, and there's people who need to come in and take this thing to the next level. It's business. And that's what I've learned. So one day I bumped into Theo. I was like, hey, dog, how do you deal with this situation? It's like, Mfana, take your emotions away from this. Don't be emotional. It's business. Take care of business, and I think for me, like after that conversation with Theo, it was probably like 24 months, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and I kind of changed how I moved. Like I truly took business for business and looked at the people, and also looked at where I'm trying to take this thing, and where this thing could take me. And the lives that this business could change and this brand could change, and the impact that we have in society, and the impact that we have within culture itself, the impact that we have in South Africa. Quite recently I've learned that the Tshepo brand has so much impact in the country, from how we see ourselves as individuals, as South Africans, how we look, how we see brands, how we see business, because it's the most relatable, And I always ask myself, like, why is it so hard, and also why do things change? But I realize, like, as the brand changes, it's a reflection of what's happening in society. People are also changing. People are rubbing into the idea that, like, what's good for South Africa is good for the world. We are as good as your biggest brands in the world, your luxury brands. And so realizing how important this brand is, not for just myself, but for our community, it makes me make very solid decisions, and makes me or pushes me to make very sound and strong, focused decisions. And of course, sometimes you do make mistakes. Like, there's no Bible for making it. Honestly, like, whoever said there's a Bible for making it lies.
Do you remember the point where you fully believed that this was going to work?
The point when I fully believed that this is going to work was, when I started, I was 24. I didn't have any, the only person that I had was myself. Of course, as much as I had my family who needed something from me, but like, I really had myself to take care of. And being naive and being young is the most beautiful thing that anybody can ever do for themselves. Stay stupid, stay foolish, do all this crazy stuff. It leads you to a point of, like, if you're watching, it drives you to a place where you could be like, oh, snap, this is my lane. Let me stay on this lane. Let me build this lane. I was intentional when I started building. The first time when I knew that this was going to work, one where I had to launch my first range of jeans, that was like, this thing is going to work. And also, I come from the township, bro. I'm scared of poverty, right? And I know, like, a lot of us are scared of poverty, especially when you've lived in poverty. You don't want to go back there. And I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. He's like, Tshepo, whatever happens, because we grew up there, it's not normal, it's not nice. And for me, I didn't have a choice but to make it make sense. I didn't have a choice but to make this thing a success. Also, it's like, I have time, dude. It takes time to build a success. It takes time to build a business. It takes time to build a brand. And I knew that from day one. And since then, I never looked back.
Yeah. I know how important like storytelling and narrative building has been to the brand, right?
Yeah.
And excuse me, like I think it's been so important for you to tell the origins of the Tshepo Jeans story.
Yeah.
And how, family influenced it, how, people contributed to it. How do you balance, storytelling and the narrative to focusing on the practical side of the business?
Good question. My team and I always fight about these things. And the most beautiful thing that happens in the store is our team are able to articulate what the Tshepo brand is when a person walks into the store, when a new product line drops. The team is able to articulate what the vision is, what the feeling is, what the product is. And, it's not like working for a mass market brand which sells itself. Our guys are really, really well trained to be like, hey, this is what Tshepo is. Tshepo is about jeans, and we do bespoke, and we do ready to wear. Our crown is inspired by the woman in Tshepo's life. The flag is inspired by the Betty tradition. So they speak about these things and they take customers on a journey. So for us, it's like both exist. You can't sell a product without a story. And so training has been such a very important aspect of our business that like every month we do a bit of training for our retail team that like you renew your understanding. And if something had happened throughout the month that you don't understand the brand, and as people come and go, you always have to remind them and induct them of what the brand is, of what our values are and where we're going and what we want to achieve. So I think for us, balancing those two was an act of finding the right people to come and join the brand. If we didn't have the right people, then telling the story and selling the product is a hard thing, but when you have people who are well trained and who understand it and who can articulate it well and articulate it in their own way, makes the whole process quite easy.
Yeah. What sort of values and principles are you looking in people when you're hiring them at that early stage? Excuse me, I don't know what's happening. All right, drink some water. Like early on, you're looking for a certain type of person to try and drive this, because when you start out and you're alone, you want to know that you bring on partners. As much as they are employees, they're still partners as well. Because early on, you want them to have the same drive as you, the same commitment as you, which is a high bar to have.
Yeah.
But what are the things that you're looking for in people when you're hiring at that early stage versus where you are now, where it's more growth and scale?
Yeah.
What do you look for now?
I think the values and principles never change, bro. No matter how big the company may be, right? Unless like we're not running machines here. It's people, and for me, like I honestly look for people who are in love with what they do as much as I am in love with what I do. I look for people who are better than me at things. If you're a better designer, dude, come work for us. If you're a better tailor, hey, bruh, this is where it's at. If you are a better accountant, manager, sourcer, whatever you call it, come work for Tshepo Jeans, because like the more good people who are great at their own craft, but also love what the Tshepo brand represents and what we're going to achieve in the future, hey, come work for us. That's what I look for. I'm not looking to be a superstar in my own space. Everybody here is in that department. They're there to shine. Everybody, when we started this year, we asked every head of department, they're like, what are you looking for? What in your department? What do you need to become better? What do you need to scale? Are you looking for any people to hire? What are you looking for to make your job better? And it's quite interesting because everybody has taken ownership. So we look for that. I look for people who are assertive, people who just won't take everything that I say. I look for people who can challenge me. I've got my own way of looking at things, but like when there's like 5 different perspectives in one room, we can actually draw an elephant. If like there's 5 blind men and like one is saying, no, this thing is a tail, and this one is like, no, it's a trunk. This is this one says it's big. You know, when you all put it together and all would come together with our different perspective, we actually draw a bigger picture. So for me, that's very important. I don't want yes men around me. In my early days, I've seen how dangerous that could be. You could even die, bro, because when you have a lot of yes men, you have no place to actually balance or what's the word?
Be held accountable?
Be held accountable, be grounded. You know, yes men and yes women don't ground you. You need people who can help you stay grounded and stay focused. Speaking to Maphorisa, and he said, you know, if we're talking about brands, we're laughing, you know, at this China and luxury brands and all of that, and it's talking about guys who've been buying fakes, and like it's like here's an opportunity for the Tshepo brand to start taking off, because now people have realized that, hey, bro, like people just put a name on something and put higher prices, but most importantly, it's there's something beautiful about building a community and building with people who are like-minded, and it's gonna take time. And I think for me, like those are the lessons that I'm learning, you know, on a daily basis. Like, hey, bro, like as much as I'm Maphorisa, as big as I am, sometimes I do fall for the chasing the likes and chasing, you know, if you post a picture, I was talking about a G63. It's like, hey, dude, I'm in Durban. I post a G63, boom, 150,000 likes within 2 hours. Everybody's talking about how I just bought a G63. And I was just like looking at this beautiful car I just saw and I posted next to it. And it's like, if you're a celebrity and a musician and now you see what the likes are doing, then you want to start chasing the likes as opposed to staying true to yourself. So it's always important to stay grounded. So having yes men is the most dangerous thing in your life. Having people who won't say, Jayami, you're going the wrong direction. It's probably the most dangerous thing you could ever have in your life. So for me, building a team has always been not yes men, by people who can say, this is my department, this is how I feel, and this is where the business is going, and we can change as much as if things have to change, we can quickly change and adjust, but they're very assertive.
You've also been very good at like using, you know, whether it's telling the story on big media platforms, right? Like it's been important for telling the story and showing people the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? How do you balance, you know, you're talking about that not being the focus.
Yeah.
How do you know when it's the right time to now press on the PR, the marketing machine, the brand machine, tell the story as much as possible? And then when it's time to pull back and go back into the business to make sure that
things are working.
have things, yeah.
I think my approach has always been like, pretend like nobody knows you. That has been my, like, everywhere we go, I'm still new. You know, so for me, like, then there's a balancing act between, okay, cool, this month, if we could get on a podcast and tell people our story, maybe like 5 people who watch Mash's podcast are going to talk about us and like tell their friends, and their friends will tell their friends. And that's how we build. So for me, it has always been not just about PR only, but like I pretend like we're like 5 years old, nobody knows us, you know? And it's probably like the most beautiful place to be at, because then you're not bigger than yourself. You know, you're not bigger than the brand. You're not bigger. You don't see yourself as a celebrity or this higher person. And that has been like, that has been my approach. You know, and because I know building an international brand and a global brand takes a lot, so I need to keep on telling the story over and over and over again. If you listen to music, I love music, right? And if you listen to music, the best song is it's repetition. You know, like I was listening to this this dude on YouTube, and he was like dissecting kind music, you know, like just got into kind music and like and they do festivals and like big songs, but like all these songs are the same. It's like 8 bars, repetition, and then you add something small. And then everyone's like, oh my God. And then you just like add something, and then you add a break. And then you do it again, and they do it for 8 minutes, 8 to 12 minutes. So for me, it's like, I treat this as like a song. It's like you have to keep on going, but you have to be repeating yourself over and over again. The more people see it, the better. The more the people see the same thing over and over and over again, it becomes normal. But if you see something like this today and then tomorrow it changes, it doesn't become normal. So for me, I'm chasing for the brand to become very normal. They're like, oh, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. It's a no-brainer, like how all the bigger brands have done it. It's like you see it over and over and over and over again to a point that you're like, okay, cool, this thing is normal in my life. I need to have it in my wardrobe. If I don't have it, there's something wrong with me. You know what I mean? Like it's that, and that's how I've kind of looked at. That's been my approach.
You talked about building community.
Yeah.
What would you say is a uniquely Tshepo customer / community member?
Oh man, like Tshepo customer community members are quite interesting. About a week ago, you were there at the store, right?
Unfortunately, missed this.
You missed it.
I was in Cape Town.
In Cape Town. And so we did this in conversation with, invited David Higgs, who is like a very amazing chef. He's from South Africa. He did Marble, Zoo, Saints, you name it. And he's like a beautiful curator of food.
I've interviewed him before.
Yes.
It's really amazing.
He's truly an amazing individual. We had Yulisa, who works for Standard Bank. We had and heads up like a lot of CSI projects for Standard Bank and like collaborations and partnership. And we had Lucy Mhlungu, who's runs Josie My Josie, a super creative, and a guy who's left the country, was running one of the biggest Instagram accounts in the world in the US, and left that to come to SA. And I was like, dude, like, how the hell do you leave like such a big role to come and like try to change Joburg? And James Delaney and Leroux. And we were having a conversation about like community and Joburg and like the excellence that you find in Joburg, and like, and the beauty that Joburg gives, the energy that Joburg gives, and the uniqueness that Joburg has, which you don't find anywhere else in the country. You go to Durban, it feels different. You go to there's an element of hustle in Joburg. And in that conversation, I realized that everybody who was there is people who think the same. It's people who want to change the situation around them. It's people who are proactive. They're not waiting for anybody else to come and save them, but they'll just do the work themselves. And as they do the work themselves, they change the community. And those are our Tshepo people. That's the community of individuals who really wear this brand and live this brand. Like I was sitting, I listened to a student, and he says to me, he's like, Tshepo, so every time when I wear this brand and I see somebody else who wears it, it feels like they understand who I am. There's a connection. It's like we think this way, we behave this way. We're not pretentious. But we're people who are making changes, whether I'm in corporate, whether I'm an entrepreneur, whether I'm working at the call center, or I'm a bartender, whatever space that I'm in, I'm making a change and I'm making a difference. So the community of Tshepo is people who are crazy enough to try change the environment around them, and crazy enough they do change it.
Yeah. Thinking back to when you made this decision to build this, right? There's a lot of hustle involved right at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Like I think creatives at the beginning, you embody the brand and you are everything that it is, right? And you are going out into the world and saying, this is what I believe I can make, and you guys should believe in this. What's the difference in who you need to be when you are a creative that owns and lives this brand versus the CEO of a business that's trying to build this brand as a business?
I think like I've had a lot of stages in my life, right, Mesh? And the stages where And I think like I was lucky because I grew up in a home where they taught me how to listen, and they taught me how to. It doesn't matter who the person is, whether they're rich or poor. Like, listen and serve the community. So the brand was created to serve the community, and all the stages of my entrepreneurial journey has always been about serving people first and serving myself. I had a dinner this one time with the MD of Heineken, Jody, and he was like, "Hey, dude, like when they were doing the deal with with Distel, and he was talking about how he doesn't like sit in his offices in Sandton. He would go where the money of the brand is, where the soul of Heineken is, which is in the taverns, go Alex, go Soweto, because that's where the brand becomes alive, be one with the people. So you can understand what the people need and design products and aspirations and everything and experiences for those people. So from being a hustler, you're bootstrapping and I realized like I knew my vision was bigger than me, and I knew my vision is to build a global brand. So at every step of my way, I needed to learn more. So I went through a lot of incubation programs. Went to the JMB Hive where they incubated me for a year. And they taught me how to put a presentation together. They taught me how to listen to. They taught me a lot of things about business, brand, and product. They taught me a lot of things, and that took me to the next level. Then I got into Victoria Yards. When I got to Victoria Yards, I took on another program. Went through a program with Standard Bank Threads. And we did a national tour with different designers. And in that process, I learned how to build a retail business. So for me, I've always been a product of like, there's somebody who always knows better than me. And hence, like, even in my hiring, it's that same mentality. I need to hire people that I can learn from, not dictate to. And that has truly helped me not become like, I'm a CEO of a business now, I need to make it work. At every stage of the business, when there was just me, and then I had another person, and then I had 5 people, and then I had 10 people. At every stage, I kind of knew that I need to learn better. Last year, I went to a school of leadership because I realized that, hey, I've reached this level mentally. I need something bigger. So, hey, go on a program again. Went on a program. And it opened me up to more. I do have a group of mentors in different spaces who also help me think and help me process and help me navigate my journey in this world. No man is an island. My Angelus say, I come as one, I stand at 10,000. And that's what it is. And for me, it's like one of the most important things when I meet a person on the street or in my store, I always open myself to learning something from them.
How important have mentors been to your journey?
Mentors have been so critical in my journey, man. Like, I remember this one time, I just opened up in Hyde Park, and we didn't have stock. Now we've got this big store, 130 squares, beautiful shop. No stock. There's probably like 50 jeans in the rail, 100 t-shirts. That's it. It's not a business. So we're pushing hard. Like, okay, cool. We need to create variety. We need to do. We do that. So we created a product line. I think we use linen. This is 2020. We use linen and like we make like these beautiful Cuban shirts and Cuban shorts, like nice style for summer, and we'll put it in the store. My mentor walks into the shop. The brand guy walks into the store. He's like, this is not a Tshepo product. This is like at the time stock worth 250,000 rand. It took us weeks on weeks to make that product. And this guy walks in, it's like, it's not right. I'm like, dude, he's like, Tabs, this thing is not right. That's the quickest way for you to die. we're here to stay. We moved everything, we packed it, sent the car over, pulled the stuff, all sitting like this, but we listened. So mentors have been so important for me and for the brand to help us grow in the right direction. Where we think internally sometimes you start chasing what you need to chase. You chase the paper, you chase the stock, you start chasing certain things. But when you have people who are sitting outside and looking at the bigger picture and looking at you and saying, I'm a Ramesh, dog. You said you're going there. Why are you here? You know what I mean? So mentors have been very good for me in terms of helping me navigate and stay on the right track.
How do you navigate those moments where maybe you've done something that wasn't supposed to be done, or maybe even you launch something, it doesn't work? How do you process failure?
Dude, I've been failing since I was a kid.
I guess experience helps.
When you become an entrepreneur, failure is part of the journey, there's hits and there's misses. That's it. If you're going to take it to heart, you're going to die, And for me now in my creative process and with the design team, I, sit down with them and they presented Spring Summer 2025 and we know the stories, and then they interpret it and then they show it to us and okay, cool. Remove, and then my process remove everything you don't believe in. And from a 50-page slide to 15. And it's just okay, cool. Now we're going to focus our energy. Yeah, to avoid failure, because I've failed so many times trying to get product out. That's what fucks up the process. You try to get the product out as quick as possible, and you don't spend enough time and give it so much love that it requires that it can turn your whole business. I was hey, cut down. Everything that you don't believe in, cut it down, and everything that you love, let's explore why you love it, and let's build on the love, so that's been my process. And so for me, failure, I know, is part of the process, it's part of the journey. I fail every day, and it doesn't affect me. Sometimes it does affect, but I think as an entrepreneur, you have as tintita, dog. It hurts, but we keep moving. We don't stay and we cry over spilled milk.
Yeah. What's the vision that you guys are going towards now?
Global, man. Tshepo is a global brand. I've seen it. I live there. My head is there. And everybody, I can feel it in my soul. I can, I get goosebumps when I say it, bro. And I think about it. It's so beautiful. It's, when you travel the world, a guy called Nick Dutton says, he opened up a store in LA, one of the most expensive strips of retail in LA. Then it was a pop-up, and which became a full-on store, and then unfortunately had to close it down in COVID. But he said something is when you travel around the world, you hardly see South African brands. Hardly. But when you in other places, you come to South Africa, you'll see all the other brands, you'll see them, but brands from here, they're not there. They're not in retail. They're not in the main streets. They're not in the main corner. And I'm very I'm very proud of Mohlala and Mohlala for what they've done. It's they've taken a bold decision to open up a store and do a show. It's doable. So Tshepo is a global brand, man. In the next 10 years, is really creating a global legacy, creating a global heritage. It's not just about South Africa. It's for the whole continent. It's for the whole world. And everybody needs to own a pair of Tshepo jeans at some point in their life.
You just became a dad. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're talking about legacy.
Yeah.
What do you hope your kid learns about the journey that you've had to build this special thing?
Humility,
that they'll one day.
I think for me, it's humility is the most important thing. Stay humble, stay foolish, believe in your crazy ideas, bro. that's it. Like, believe in your crazy ideas. I think, like this one guy says to me, my dad used to be a miner under the ground for coal and gold, and then left the country to work overseas, and then became the chairperson of this company. And then like now he started investing in mines, and like he grew up well, right? And he's like, Tshepo, how do I top that? How do I top my dad, who's left everything for me? But like his story is like, he's like, he started underground, and became chairperson of a mine. So for me, it's like, it's important. The next generation, the legacy is believe in your own crazy ideas, believe in your passions, believe in yourself. Be you, be real, be authentic, and stay level-headed. I think for me, people are so important in my life. Never level people. My grandmother taught us, like, whether a celebrity walks in or a guy who cleans the street walks in, you make them tea, you bring it in a tray, you offer them biscuits, and they have a conversation. You serve people. And the best businesses, they're there to serve people, not to serve the owners or the founders. And I read a study a couple of years ago. It says what's good for society is good for business, and what's good for business is good for society. And that's what, like, the legacy I want to leave is that whatever you do, it must be beneficial to the society and to the community.
Yeah. You speak about the women that inspired the crown.
Yeah.
When you speak to them now, what do they say about this amazing dream that you sold them back in the day?
It's crazy, I think the most vocal person of them all would be my grandmom. She says to me, like, I didn't believe it. And now I believe it. Now it's happening, and like, you've changed our family's name. I was like, yo. My guy.
Me hearing it, I'm like, whoa.
Like, yo, my Krisa, so they're very proud, and it's special. I think, like, my mom, like, is a teacher, and all the teachers at school, they love the brand. And for a very long time, she didn't say that I'm her son. And then she wears the brand at school. And then this one day, she had left the house with my car keys. I call her, and then she video calls me. And then one of the teachers sees me, and then we start chatting. She's like, no, my son Tshepo. Was like, Tshepo's your son? Like, yeah. Like, oh my God. Like, Tshepo, it went wild. The teachers were going crazy. So the family is very proud, man. It's a beautiful thing for them to see and to be part of. And like, I'm lucky to have both my grandparents alive, my mom, my aunts, and some of my family members alive to witness this brand becoming a reality, and witness and see people who love it more than they do. It's crazy.
Sure. What's one thing you tell a creative who is early in their journey, right? And mostly what they have is just an idea. I want to build this really great brand. I don't know what to do next, but I know I have the passion, the conviction that this can be something special. What is something that you tell them?
I think, like, for me, is like, always be willing to learn from other people. Reach out to people, be vulnerable, be shameless. No matter how shameful your situation might be shameless. Reach out to people, ask for advice, have those conversations, sell that product in the taxi if you're taking a taxi, sell that product, be shameless. I think that's one thing that truly helped me. And I think, Mesh, like, passion is in business is everything, man. Like, you have to have passion. The people with, like, the craziest ideas are the ones who change the world. the people who take care of their reputation are the ones who build a beautiful business and a beautiful brand. Your reputation is everything. I grew up in a Christian home, and the Bible would say, a good reputation is like the most expensive perfume. Take care of your reputation, and you build on that. It takes time to build a champion. It doesn't happen overnight. If you think it happens overnight, my brother, I've been doing it for years, and I'm not there. I'm still getting started, So it's not one thing. It's multi-layered. Don't give up. If you truly, truly, truly love it, don't give up.
Yeah. If we're sitting here 10 years from now, what would you hope to say about what Tshepo Jeans has achieved?
10 years from now, oh man, we'll build a beautiful brand. We'll build a beautiful business. I sat in a boardroom this one day, and I said to my mentor, hey dude, listen, this is what's happening in my life right now. How did you do it in your business? He can see that I'm very anxious. And it's like, Teps, you've built a beautiful brand. Relax. You've built a beautiful brand. You've built a beautiful business. And 10 years from now, when I look back and say, you've built a beautiful brand, you've built a beautiful business.
Clean. What is one thing that you know now that you wish you knew at the beginning of your journey?
Ooh.
Back at the Hive, which I saw you, I remember. I'm so grateful while you give this some thought, I'm so grateful to have seen so many people very early in their journey.
Yeah.
And then walk that journey in some ways, right?
Yeah.
We did some work together with Yoko, I remember, and other things as well. And it's so powerful to see where someone began, or where the beginnings of what the idea was, to see it blossom into something meaningful and powerful. I think what you've done is truly special.
Thank you. I can only see it through your eyes. Swear.
Because you were just fighting for your life.
I'm fighting for my life. I'm waiting for the next 10 years. Bro. It's just geez. What was the question again?
What is one thing that you know now that you wish you knew at the beginning of your journey?
I think it's still the same, bro. I swear, I think it's still the same thing. I've always been willing to learn. That's one thing that I've wish I knew earlier, which in my first 2 years of the business, I didn't know. But after that, I was like, hey, you need to start learning from people. So for me, learning is not it doesn't end. It's a continuous thing. I was saying to my managers this morning that, guys, you need to find yourself mentors. You need to go and learn something, pick up a skill as a manager. Whatever got you here won't take you there. And as I'm growing, I need people who are growing. So I'm doing all these things, learning, reading books, going to book clubs. You need to invest in yourself so much so, man. It's the most, that's where the power is at, investing in yourself. And when you're wealthy, personally, mentally, spiritually, you pour into your business. You can easily see things. You have the third sense. This person's not good for me. This one is good for me. This deal is a lot of money, but it's not good for me now. It's those kind of things. We've walked away from deals, bro, where I was like, yo, I'm gonna change my life. But I'm like, in the next 10 years, I won't be here. So walk away. Rejected money. We've rejected people. We've rejected fame. And. So for me, it's continuous learning is the most important thing.
Thank you so much. How do you make that decision to walk away from money when you need it?
It's the people around me that give me comfort. I have one of the most beautiful business partners. We want the same things, and we come from two different worlds. And every time we make decisions, it's like, hey, Teps, and you see it this way. I'm seeing it this way. So it's the right people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are becoming very important to your journey now, or they have always been, right? And you're bringing them in to do things that you might not feel you're the best person for. Like, I think that takes some level of growth to recognize that you are not the right person to take this thing forward. To remember why you chose your business partner. But also, I know you're working with Wanda as well, as the designer as well. Like, how are you picking these people and knowing that they will be the ones to drive the vision forward?
I mean, like, I chose my business partner because he came from a world of, he grew up in a world where at home, dad, uncle, they've built businesses. So they have a network. They understand how to build a business. It might not be in fashion or entertainment, but they come from a world where at home on a Friday afternoon when we're chilling, my uncle's talking about business. My dad is talking about business. I come from a world where we don't talk about business. So business has always been a norm. And for me, I'm an entrepreneur. He's a businessman. Like, hey, we need to build foundations. How do we lay our foundation? How do we future-proof this concept? How do we, okay, cool. Like, don't make a decision. If you want to make a decision from now, I live in the future. I live 40 years from now because I want this business to be alive in the next 40 years. So for me, when we started having conversation, and we were friends more than we're business partners, and we were having conversations about this over and over again. And eventually I was like, hey, dude, listen, this is a long journey. The next 100 years, how about we walk this journey together? And that was it, So the feeling, when you're an entrepreneur, you've got feel, you've got gut, you've got, something's gonna work. You can't explain it. You just know.
You're talking about the sense.
Yeah.
You keep saying the sense, like the sense for people, the sense for decisions, the sense for opportunities. How would you describe the sense?
It's in you, man. It's in you. When you're an entrepreneur, every person who wakes up and decides that they want to go on a journey of entrepreneurship, they have that sense. It's there, just like there's a gut feeling. And, somebody, I was listening to a podcast, and this a reporter on CNN says, like, they asked Trump, how is he going to do it? And he's like, we'll do it with our instinct. And then they pause it. He's like, instinct. But great leaders who have changed the world, they go with their instinct. And sometimes the instinct can lead you into a wrong direction. And sometimes the instinct can take you to heaven, bro. So for me, like, that instinct, and you can't learn instinct from school. You can't learn that, like, this design will work. You just feel it, and you're like, Wanda is an amazing creative, amazing art director, amazing creative director, amazing designer. And as the brand is growing, I needed somebody who can decipher what's happening in the world, what's happening in South Africa, and put it together for me and articulate it in a manner that's, like, still true to Tshepo, and he has those skills. And he said, Tseps, this is what I want. I want, when a product leaves this place, it must be Wanda approved. If it's not Wanda approved, it won't sell, And we're starting to roll out product like Wanda approved. Recent campaign is Wanda approved. And that's a beauty, man, of working with people who've got feel and who've got grit, and people who really want to see this thing succeed. People who want to change the narrative of what it means to be South African and what it means to be African and what South Africa means to us, what brands mean to us as South Africans, and what brands and South African brands mean to the rest of the world. And it's a beautiful journey.
So, while we end this, I went on this drive from Joburg to Cape Town, and I know you had a bad experience with this as well. I'm sorry to bring it up. And I kept saying, like, South Africa is God's country.
Yeah.
This country is ordained by God to be great. And to see someone dedicate themselves to building something that can embody that is something special.
Yeah.
Did you think that's what you were doing at the beginning?
I didn't think that's what I was doing in the beginning. What it meant, what it means, is what it's going to mean. Started developing and changing and started articulating itself even much more clearer. And for me, like, because I grew up in this country, then I traveled to a few countries, I was like, guys, man, we've got something here. You know, this is a beautiful land. The people are beautiful, you know, and it's a blessing to be South African, and it's a blessing to be South African at this time. You know, it's what a time to be alive. What a time to have a brand in this country. You know, like when I chill with my Porisa, I was like, dude, did you ever know that this thing is going to take the world by storm? Like when I was in Amsterdam, I'm like, yo, Tshepo my piano, left, right, and center. You go to the US, my piano. Like, did you ever see this coming? And it happened. You know, so what a time to be alive when the whole world is looking, when the whole world is accepting what we think is cool, and the whole world is following us. Who would have known that, like, we won't be listening to hip hop as much as we did 10 years ago? Every 10 tracks is piano, dog. It's, you know, but it's South African, it's local, and it's telling our own stories, and it's making our own people rich, and it's changing people's lives, and it's changing how the narrative of our country. It's the most important thing, you know. Art, design, entertainment changes the narrative of the world. It changes investors' sentiments. So when the bank and inflation and all of these things happen, when the narrative of the country is not amazing, the fundamentals go down. So the economy booms start changing when the narrative of a country changes, you know. And even if like there's like inflation or like VAT has gone up, but like this country is it's going up, though. Like I went to an event last night, F&B event, and the CEO was talking about like the sentiment for South Africa has changed. 15 years ago, it was down. 10 years ago, but now people are like, hey, they're looking into South Africa. They're looking into South Africa for inspiration. They're looking to South Africa for opportunities. And it's a whole lot of things that make that happen. It's our music, it's our fashion, it's our drive, it's our culture, it's and how we do things. And yeah.
What's our responsibility as entrepreneurs and creators?
Our responsibilities, man, is like, I think it's like you must know that you're not doing it only for yourself. Once it's bigger than you, then you know that you're running a good business or you're running a proper thing. It's not about you. It's about everybody around you. It's about the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again. This man said